to get to our important conversation. Thanks to Bonnie and Marcy and Doug, all from Public Health, who have been just terrific partners as witnessed by their nomination. I think what I love about the nomination for Public Health is that small business owners, none of us like where we're at, what's happening in our businesses, and it just sucks. It's hard right now. But what I like about the nomination is we do also recognize the partnership that we have, that we must maintain with Public Health. They don't like it any more than we do. So that makes my heart really happy to hear of that nomination. So congratulations to all of you. Before we get to some comments and some questions, and we have a number of them, if you do have a question for Public Health after Bonnie kind of gives us her update, put them in the chat if you would, and then we'll go through. We've got a number of them in the pile. I do want to just share a screen really quick with you and show you what we are doing with NBC 15. It's called Support Our Small Businesses, and it's an initiative between now and the end of October to support our small businesses. There is a fundraising component to it. People can give to the fund, and we will businesses in Central Wisconsin. So it's a 6-week campaign. Last week we kicked it off. You may have seen it. They're running promos. They're running wonderful interviews with local business owners. And last week we were in Wanakee. And so let me just show you this real quick so that you're aware of it. If it's going to go. Sorry about that. Let's see if I can. Well, maybe we'll just have to do
Look into the future, to a time when we come out of this global pandemic. Imagine what Wisconsin's downtowns will look like if we don't support them now. By supporting your local small businesses, you help them get through the pandemic and survive with every single dollar you spend. You also support your neighbors who own and work at these small businesses. So spend your money at a local small business, and you can even donate to the Small Business Fund. Please go to supportoursmallbusinesses.com and do what you can.
Did I stop sharing screen, I hope?
Yes, you're back.
Okay, good, thanks. I ought to have this down cold, and I don't know why sometimes these things work and sometimes they don't, but nonetheless. So you'll see that on NBC 15 along with interviews from various communities throughout South Central Wisconsin. I want to also talk really very briefly with two folks that have joined us today, just to share for 1 minute each their businesses that I just came in contact with last week. The first up is Eat Streets has an offer for small businesses, and we have Macy from Eat Streets. If you can just go ahead and unmute yourself. She'll just give a really brief overview of what they're offering, and then if you have questions or want to get a hold of Marcy, if you want to go ahead and do it in the private chat, that'd be great. I saw you here earlier.
Yeah.
There you are. Great. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Like Peggy said, I'm Macy from Eat Street, and if you're not familiar, we're a food delivery service. We're started here in Madison, still headquartered here, and we deliver from over 500 restaurants just in the Madison area alone. And, you know, obviously we know it's been a challenging few months for everybody. And so one offer we have is for you and your employees. You can sign your company up to get free delivery for your employees. So all of your employees, we basically just take their email addresses and they will get free delivery on all their orders. And there's no catch. It doesn't cost you as a company anything. Really, this is just us trying, you know, to continue to find ways, like Peggy and Colin said, to support local, support our restaurant partners through this, help drive more orders for them, as well as for you guys to provide a perk to your employees as well. So like I said, there's no catch. It's really just, we want to provide this opportunity and this perk for you guys. So if you're interested, all you have to do is shoot me an email. My email is marketing@eatstreet.com, and that'll come right to me, and I can communicate, you know, how we get you signed up, or if you have any other questions on that. But yeah, feel free to shoot me a note.
Thanks,
I'm, gu-
Macy. Thanks for doing that.
I'm
Appreciate
guessing
it.
that I'm guessing that some of the Eat Local, Give Local participating restaurants are also part of Eat Street. So you could tie the two
Yeah,
together on.
yeah. When you're running through those, I think most of them are on Eat Street. So.
Sure.
Thank you. And again, reach out to her in the chat or give her an email to follow up. We did that for our company since we're downtown, and looking forward to using that. And then also last week, as I mentioned, we were getting ready to kick off the support our small businesses, and I was frantically searching for a local business that did logoed masks, and we did a nice order for the masks and for some of our clients. And I really think, as I go into different businesses and I see business owners, asking employees to wear appropriate masks, that this could be a good idea for any business. They're really affordable. And so I did ask Aaron from Madison Top Company to come in. I'm going to just show one of the masks while he's going through a really brief info about that. And then again, if you have any questions or want to reach out to Aaron, you can do it in the chat or via email, but I'm going to put on a couple samples while you're talking. Good morning, Aaron.
Hello, good morning. Yes, we made the mask for you. What we try and do is get them done the minimum order is 1, and we take the mask ordinance and whatnot very seriously, but we also think that it's a good way to promote yourself and help yourself. So you can get, just 1, and if you need something, you can get them within about an hour or so as well. So we're just here to help out and help you with whatever you need. So please let me know whatever you want, and we're here to help. And my email is aaron@madisontop.com, and it's at our website as well. It'll pop up and show you what we have. But we can do 1 to however many you need.
And I think that's a really huge benefit for small businesses. Some of them won't do it because other businesses will say, oh, the turnaround was slow. And you've got 1 hour, they call it their lightning service. I was so grateful to find that. And we didn't need a huge number. And Aaron was super accommodating. And the masks are really great. I wore these on the air when we did our NBC 15 bit, and they're comfortable, they're snug, they feel good, they look good. So if your business is looking for that for your employees, it's a great item. So Aaron, thanks for being here this morning. We do want to pop then over to our fabulous partners over at Public Health Madison Dane County. And I'm going to ask Bonnie, we do have a number of questions, and she's been so great with providing information prior to the start. But if you could just, Bonnie, if you wouldn't mind, give an overview of where we're at right now with numbers. And then, obviously top of mind is right now with business owners is this new enforcement piece to the puzzle. So if you wouldn't mind rolling through that.
Sure. Just a reminder, right now we are still in our emergency order number 9, and that was in effect as of September 2nd. From our data snapshot on September 17th, we did hit an average number of cases per day of 170. This is nearly double than our average last week at 94, and is the highest ever. Of these numbers, UW students and staff make up about 76% of these Dane County cases. And then specific to businesses today, just a reminder where we're at in the orders here. Most businesses and workplaces now can be open up to 50% capacity with certain precautions and policies in place. And then these businesses and workplaces should be using remote work to the greatest extent possible. Restaurants are limited to indoor dining capacity of 25%. With approved seating, which is 6 at a table within the same household. And those tables need to be positioned such that there's enough distancing between other patrons that are there. And outdoor seating is allowed with physical distancing, 100% capacity. Customers must be wearing masks when not actively eating or drinking at these establishments. And indoor seating at taverns right now is not allowed. Customers may enter taverns only to order, pick up, and pay for food or beverages, but outdoor seating at these establishments is allowed with the physical distancing, and again, customers must wear masks when they're not actively eating or drinking.
Thanks for that. we've been down this road before, and I have a number of questions somewhat relating to that. But here's what's sticking out in my mind, and I don't know if this is something you can help with, but I struggle with this because I did go downtown on Saturday, and what I struggle with is certain business owners not adhering to the rules, and others most doing a great job. And I struggle with, saying something to them in person. I struggle with somewhat tattling on another business. I don't want anything to happen to them. But then I struggle with what you guys work in, and that's what's right for our community. Are others having that same concern? How are they resolving? Any thoughts you could share with us? I probably know what the answer is, but it's a hard one for us.
I do have some thoughts on that. We've been doing some compliance investigations the last couple of weeks, and I would say the majority of time operators, business owners are really wanting to do the right thing, and there may be just miscommunication in the information that they've received and what we're requiring. And the majority of them are really wanting to work with our department and do the right thing for their employees and for our community. And that's been a real positive outcome of those investigations. I would also say there are still some outliers out there, and I think it's really important that our community lets public health know. And we have set up a system for that. And the best way to let us know is to use our compliance email. And you can do it anonymously, and you would just file a complaint of what you saw within the community that you're concerned about. And our compliance email, again, is compliance@publichealthmdc.com. That can also be found on our website. And I know, Peggy, you'll be happy to share that out with everyone after this webinar. It works best if you submit them that way. And we have a lot of people who try submitting it always. That doesn't help us. We receive a complaint on 3 different emails. Just send it through that compliance email. We have a great system for keeping track of those, and all those that we receive, we'll be sending out educational letters to those individuals that we receive complaints on. And if we receive multiple complaints, we'll be doing investigations. And like I said, a lot of our investigations we find are unfounded, and the ones that we do see that there might be a problem, many times it's just a misunderstanding. So use that compliance email so that we can be working with our community and business operators to get everybody doing the right thing.
It's great advice, and I know you've given it before, but I do think it's a great reminder, and it's a really difficult thing for business owners who want other business owners to succeed. But I think your point is well taken, that it could very well be that there is miscommunication about what the order is. I think they're so busy working in their businesses that to keep up with all of that. So that's a really great point. So as I was walking downtown, and someone else had asked this question about UW students, I think that's worth noting. Obviously 76% are UW students. What are your thoughts with, what do we do with this situation now? They are here. They're in Madison, in our community. We have high percentage of positives. From what I understand, they do go back home in November is the UW's somewhat release date. What do we do between now and then? What is public health's desire for handling that situation?
Well, we're going to continue to work closely with the UW and our other community partners monitoring this situation. And we have already implemented 3 key strategies to help slow the spread of the virus on campus. On September 4th, we issued quarantine notices to over 400 UW fraternity and sorority members due to the outbreaks at their chapter homes. And then again on September 7th, we directed undergraduate students to restrict their movements for 14 days. And on September 9th, UW shifted to 2 weeks of remote instruction and placed 2 residence halls under quarantine. So all these strategies are efforts to help restrict the movement and reduce the contact during this time where we have increased spread on campus. And we're just going to continue to work closely with the UW campus and these students and collaborate for the best outcome for our community.
We've all been, college aged, 18, 19, 20, 21, somewhere in there, right? And we think we know, right? It's cool to not comply. It's cool to be, how do you work with those students? Has it been a challenge for public health? Like, quarantining them for 2 weeks just seems like an insurmountable goal.
And that I can't speak to. I haven't worked directly with them, but I can say that I have 2 children that are college age right now, and everything you're saying is true. We know that their minds aren't fully developed to what they're 24, 25 years old. And I see that even with my own children. And try as we might, it is a challenge, but I think if we all work collectively together, we'll have a better outcome.
Is that the goal, to continue between now and November to work with them, or does public health feel that it might be a good time to release them earlier? Do you have any say so in that? Is that all UW's decision?
And that, I don't know if Marcy and Doug are on the call and they want to jump in, but as of right now, the last that I'm hearing on that front is that we're going to continue to work collaboratively together.
Okay. Another question, and I'm doing this already knowing the answer, and I'm going to put up some links here, but a question did come in from a business owner saying, we do our very best to continually remind staff to stay 6 feet apart from customers, sanitize often, and not touching products unless they're gloved for the safety of their customers. Does public health have signage that might be helpful in the message?
Yes, thank you. And first of all, I want to say thank you to that business owner for taking all those steps. I really appreciate hearing that. And I love that this business owner is asking for signs. There's scientific evidence out there that indicates that by cueing people, we can increase the behavior that we're hoping for by about 30%. So that's a really exciting statistic. So cues like those signs really help get us to our goal, which is to continue to have people physical distancing and to be wearing those face coverings. Those are our 2 best ways of preventing the spread of COVID-19. So we do have signs. We have signs about wearing masks that are required to be posted at the entrance of all businesses. We also have a sign reminding people to sit within their household when they go out and dine at a restaurant. And then we also have some signs for physical distancing, reminding people to, maintain 6 feet or further. And we have some signs that are even specific to use of an elevator for businesses like office settings and such that may have an elevator. So I did send those to you, Peggy, and if you would share those with everyone on the call afterward, that would be great. Again, cues are really a great way to help remind people to do the right behaviors to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
And thanks again for sending those. They're very helpful. If anyone would like those, please feel free. I'm happy to email them out. Otherwise, I'll send them also to Colin, and maybe we can put those in an upcoming newsletter or make them available in some other manner. But Peggy at sbmbrands.com if you would like me to email those to you as soon as we can. And thanks for that. A couple other questions. I'm going to they're all very similar in nature, so I'm going to try and loop them all together. But one question that we keep getting is this new enforcement the city of Madison only, or is it Dane County? Because you're working with the City of Madison Police Chief, and so I thought it was interesting that it's a Dane County order, correct? And they're enforcing it in the City of Madison only. Can you speak to that?
We're enforcing it throughout Dane County. The examples that we gave in that letter that we sent out were specific to the ordinances within the City of Madison, as well as the citations and penalties. And they differ slightly depending on what municipality you're in Dane County. But as far as doing our compliance investigations, it is throughout Dane County. And the change is that when we receive complaints now, we're not going to wait for that 3rd complaint to begin our investigation. We're starting to go out more quickly in these spaces as part of our investigation to see where we're at. And like I said, in some of the ones that we went out in the last couple of weeks, a lot of them were in compliance when we arrived, or it was just a slight misunderstanding. They were really wanting to work with the health department.
Mm-hmm. And I think a struggle that, that some businesses may have is if you have staff you're working during the day and you go home and you have a night manager or what have you, I think it's incredibly important to communicate exactly what your business's policies and procedures are. I know there was part of having a manual in the store that everybody signed off on. Communication to staff is so important because you can't be in your business all the time. With that being said, can you clear up, I think there's misunderstanding as well, is when we see this order and we talk about enforcement, there's some rumors, if you will, that public health or the city of Madison police are going to show up and just start writing tickets. There is a sense of communication first. I don't imagine that they're just out trying to look for these things, or are they, for violations?
The letter that we sent out was really to allow the business community to understand the shift in our enforcement. We're at a different place. We've been in the same orders for businesses for about 2 months now, going on our 3rd month. And we really feel like businesses should know what the requirements are for their spaces. And so instead of us continuing to wait for 1 or 2 or 3 complaints from our community before we begin our investigations, we're going to begin more swiftly and rapidly. And if we find out that these complaints are valid, there will be more swift penalties, including citations. And that's really the message. We're just at a different place, and we just don't want businesses to take maybe advantage of what's, the educational process and complaint policy that we had in place in the last 2 months, and to realize we're at a different place and we really need to be working together. And if we think about what's happening down on the campus right now with the students and the high number of cases that we're experiencing in our community, it's like the perfect storm, right? We want businesses to continue to follow what's required in the orders for the best outcome of our community, especially in light of the current situation with case counts in our community and community spread. And so it's like, it's the perfect storm for maybe, if we don't comply, what could happen, right? However, I also think it's a perfect opportunity to remind all businesses, like we did with that enforcement letter, just a reminder, this is where we're at. If we all do our part and we continue to follow the orders, even during this difficult time, we'll have a much better outcome.
Mm-hmm. Someone did ask if public health can share a link, and thanks, Marcy. She did put up a link in the chat if you're interested. That does talk about the specifics that Bonnie's mentioning. So thanks again, Marcy, for that. And I do have a number of important links as well, and we'll get those out to post call. We'll get that out and share that information. So if you want to dig a little bit deeper, we'll be able to do that. Going back to these citations, what are the amounts? I recall, to be really honest, our business is closed, and so I didn't pay a ton of attention to the amounts, but I want to say it was $1,000, I believe. Is it up to $75,000? Can you
and this one, Marcy, I'm going to lob this your way if you're on, and you can speak to this.
Sure. So there's 2 different options with enforcement. One is public health, or the police officer, or a sheriff deputy, or any local law enforcement can issue a citation when they're on site. The bail deposits vary depending on where you are within your jurisdictions. Within Madison, it's $250 plus cost, which I believe comes out to $377. I don't have my bail book here. Doug, I don't know if Doug recently issued some citations, so he may know the exact amount. In the county, I believe it's around $325. I can get you the exact amounts, Peggy. And I don't know in each surrounding jurisdictions like Sun Prairie and Verona what their bail deposits are, but I'm assuming they're all around the same amount. The $75,000 you saw was an example that I provided within the letter. So if a citation is not issued and it's sent to my office for a summons and complaint, which can occur anywhere within the county, and the county corporation counsel is helping me with prosecution of cases, or we could send it to a local city attorney with, say in Verona somewhere if we choose to go that route. So that's in Madison, it's $1,000 per count. And so each jurisdiction has a different base deposit for a count. So that would be more of a summons and complaint. We call them a long form complaint. We do those like when public health goes out and sees multiple violations and they're not going to issue 1 ticket or 10 tickets on site. It would come to my office and we would look at developing a summons and complaint, which could have multiple counts in it. So it could be, 2 counts, which could be up to 2,000 plus costs, or it could be 50 counts. It just depends on the number of violations that they observe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And again, I just want to make sure that I'm not trying to, belong this conversation, but I want to make sure everybody leaves here with clear understanding of what it is. So it used to be 3 complaints, right? And now that is gone. And it is, if we've received a complaint and we come to your business and we see that complaint for ourselves, it will result in a citation.
Yes, and this is this is in regards to wearing face coverings, physical distancing, and your capacity requirements for your business. All businesses should know what those are at this juncture in our emergency response.
Do you know, and I don't know if this is a Doug question or not, but will any of these citations have any effect on a business that is licensed?
So we also are working with Jennifer Zillaby, who's the ALRC attorney within my office. And so all citations that will be issued will be sent to her so that she can review whether it's going to have an effect on someone's liquor license. It could potentially have an effect on an individual's food and drink license if they continue to be non-compliant. I don't know if individuals observed what happened with Hellbox. In Middleton, they received 3 citations. They indicated they were not going to comply with our order. And so we looked at doing a license revocation. So that could happen anywhere within the county, depending on, if individuals and businesses are saying they're not going to comply, then we would move to the next steps. But obviously we're still attempting voluntary compliance. That's why we sent out the notice. It's been 6 months that we've had these various orders in effect. So we feel like we've given ample warnings and notice to businesses. So, but we still are hoping that everyone will voluntarily comply with our order and that we don't have to look at prosecutions or effects on licenses.
Mm-hmm. And I think, you make a good point. I think for the most part, businesses don't like where we're at either. I know you guys don't, but it's about public safety. That's really the bottom line here. It's not that you guys get your kicks out of citing people, I'm sure. And you would rather that you didn't have to, I would imagine. But everybody has to play by the same rules in order to get these numbers down. So that makes complete sense to me. Bonnie, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but I think as we look forward, everybody in small business, particularly retail and restaurants and so forth, are pivoting to online, but some are very much in-person business. Are you seeing or hearing anything about how the latter fall, early holiday might look for small businesses? I mean, if these numbers continue at the pace they are, and we know UW seems to be carrying, the students seem to be carrying a large percentage of positives. If they're not gone till November, do you think we can stay right where we're at, or do you think we may go? I realize I'm asking you to look into the future, but do you think if we stay with these high numbers, might we go to a different place?
Yeah, that's something that I simply can't speak to. What I can say right now is we're where we're at right now, right? Given the case count that we have, and we're staying put with our existing orders. That is my hope for our future for the businesses in our community, that we can at least maintain where we're at. But it is completely dependent on the outbreak data and metrics that are occurring in our community. So we'll have to keep a watch on that and see where that leads. Some of that data will also help us to understand where those riskier spaces are. And just like the amendments that we saw in early July, we might see some different kind of amendments made. But that is all just based on what we've done in the past and where we're at now, and we simply can't predict the future.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's every day.
COVID's in control.
Yeah.
May I jump in here for a second?
Yes, sure. Hi, Doug.
Hi. I just want to jump in and just say a couple of important updates. Is that we are starting to see some spillover from the university, so it's not all just university students at this point in time. We're starting to see cases increase beyond the university. This could be due to a lot of different things. Could be the Labor Day holiday. Could be the fact that we're moving indoors more. Could be a lot of different situations, but we are seeing some increased cases if we take the UW out. So we haven't been that way. We've been pretty good, but we are starting to see a slight spike upwards. And another thing, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but the CDC did come out this past week and started to lend a little more credence to aerosol spread, which means that physical distancing becomes even more important. Face masks become even more important because it's becoming more easily transmittable. Like if we think of a measles, where you could just be in the same room and everyone's going to get measles, it's going to get into the ventilation system, it's going to travel throughout a space pretty quickly and easily and very contagious. All this time we've not been at the ventilation, and it's not causing issues there, and now there's starting to become more and more evidence that is showing that maybe not the ventilation systems, but when we're all together close in a poorly ventilated room, it is able to spread pretty quickly. So again, it just reinforces the message of mask wearing and of physical distancing to ensure that we're stopping that transmission. Thank you.
A quick question on that, Doug. So would a fan in a business, are there any tools that we can provide that will help that?
Yeah, there are. They tend to be somewhat expensive, though. It would be moving your air filtration and your HVAC units up to, I think it's above 13. So you're looking at a MERV value of 19. So that would be putting HEPA filters into your HVAC system. Would also mean dropping your makeup air or increasing your makeup air to, you're pulling in as much fresh air as you can, which of course raises costs, right? To air condition that air or to heat that air. Mm-hmm. Those are a couple ways that you can increase the ventilation. Of course, opening the windows and doors if possible also help. Of course, if you're a food establishment, you have to be careful with some of that as well. But yeah, anything to increase the ventilation will hopefully decrease the transmission.
That's a great point, and I hadn't heard that before. I mean, again, we're in 70-degree temperatures today, pretty much all this week. It would be, if you're able to do so safely, to go ahead and open that up and just take a breather with your business. Great info, Doug. Thank you for that. I don't see any other questions in the queue. If you have them, if you could put them in there now, that would be good. Just looking at our list, I think we've covered just about everything. Most of it, I understand it, most of these are all enforcement related questions, and I think we covered that pretty thoroughly. But, if folks do have questions from time to time and maybe, they get off of this webinar or just day-to-day business, Bonnie, what's the best way for folks to reach out to public health just to get guidance?
Yes, so we do have another email for businesses that want to have support right now. It's and that email is covidbusinesssupport@publichealthmdc.com. And I'll make sure again, Peggy, that you have both those emails, the one for submitting complaint and the other one for businesses just reaching out to get some good supportive information and in ways that they can do a better job in their spaces or to understand what the current orders are and how it impacts their business. Always happy to reach out and help all those businesses in the way that I can.
And again, we're grateful for that. And I know that when we have done these webinars with you in the past, there's been a few lingering things we didn't know at the time that had to be researched. And Bonnie's magnificent at follow-up. I know what's going on. She copies me, and don't be afraid to reach out to them. I've heard it from so many business owners that we don't want to get public health. They are our partners. Nobody knows this in our community better than they do. and even, and we're all navigating, but they have the most up-to-date information. The info that Doug just provided on airflow, so important. Reach out. They have a wonderful staff that is here to help us, and I just can't stress that enough. They are our partners through this, and they don't have a crystal ball as we all would like them to. If you could just tell us the holidays will be okay, that'd be great.
So wish.
But they are our partners. So if you have any questions at all, so we'll provide the email Bonnie shared. We will provide the signage that they also provided, and any information or questions that you may have, please reach out. Again, Marcy, Doug, and Bonnie, thank you so much for all you do. Again, congrats on your nomination, well earned. We're grateful that you are on our team.
Well, thank you so much for allowing us to be here and to share out to all the small businesses on the call. We do care about all of you. We do appreciate all you're doing. We know that it's been a real heavy burden on your businesses to implement all those policies that we're asking, and we just appreciate all your efforts to keep your employees safe and our community safe. Very much appreciated from my heart, truly.
Thank you, Bonnie. And again, thanks, Marcy and Doug. I almost got a new name in there, but we appreciate your time and your expertise.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you for joining us. We'll be back again next Monday at 10 o'clock. Have a great week, and don't forget, Thursday, eat local, give local. See ya.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye, Peggy.
Bye-bye.